Hello, welcome back to the podcast. It has been a little while since I recorded an episode, and I've never recorded an episode in this context before. If you're watching on YouTube, I have a little desk set up on my sofa. I've got a pile of books and a little light, and it's all very professional. And I am going to be recording an episode today that's very different to any episode I've ever recorded before. Whenever I've done the podcast before, it's been a little 5-minute episode chatting through a particular topic, daily episodes, and in the last couple of weeks, I have not posted content on social media. I have not really been on social media. I've not recorded a podcast episode. I've had complete space from all of the social media content side of my business because I have been undergoing a little bit of a strategy reset, I suppose. I've been having a bit of a regroup, a bit of a think, and finally making some changes that I have had on my mind for years, if I'm honest, and only really feel in a place now to be able to make. So what I wanted to do today was chat through a little bit about what I've been doing, what's been going on, what I've been thinking about, and talk through a little bit about what I'm going to be changing, what is going to look different moving forwards. So let's get into it. This episode is going to be a bit of a reset. It's basically going to be a way for us to start a new chapter in my business and in kind of how I communicate and what I talk about. And the reason that I'm making this shift now, the reason that I have been having these thoughts and doing some things differently over the last couple of weeks is it's been 3 years now since I left my corporate job. I've been running my business now for 5 years, and I'm only now really in a place, now I've left the corporate world sort of 3 years ago, that I feel able to look at it differently. I was quite burnt by some of my experiences in the corporate world, and I am going to talk about this in a future episode because I think it's incredibly important. I think a lot of what I went through, a lot of people can take a lot of learnings from, and if I'm honest, I think a lot of what I went through massively informs actually what I want to change and how I want to do things going forward. But when I did leave the corporate world, I felt very burnt by it, and I really didn't want to engage with it. I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to think about it. I wanted to start this new business that had nothing to do with the corporate world, that I had loads of distance from it, that was not involved with it whatsoever. But in the last 12 months or so, I've started to think about it a bit differently. I've had some distance from it. I've healed from a lot of that stuff, for want of a better word. And I have realised that I'm actually in a place now where I have something important to say in the corporate space, something I want to say in the corporate space, and that I've felt like I couldn't before, but now I feel like I'm able to. I also think I'm in a new phase personally in my life. I see health and fitness very differently to the way that I did a few years ago. I'm now in a place where I'm not dieting, I'm not changing my body, I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm all about my health and well-being and my future and my fertility and all of that stuff. And so my relationship with health and fitness has changed a lot as well. In the last 12 months, there has been a shift in my content a little bit. I've started talking more about professional women. I've started coaching. I've always coached a lot of professional women. I think I've just attracted a lot of those sorts of clients, but I've definitely started talking about that more in my content. And I've also started having, through my coaching conversations, some incredible conversations with clients about their businesses, about their work, about things they're going through in the workplace, about their job applications, about all sorts of things to do with their professional life. And I suppose I'm finally now in a place where I'm properly asking myself, like, what do I actually want to share? What do I want to talk about? What impact do I want to have on the world? What is still true, what is never going to change in terms of me and my business and what I stand for and what I want to achieve, is that I have always cared about helping women feel better in themselves, in their body, in their confidence, in their relationship with food, and their ability to enjoy life. And the reason for that is that I spent so long not feeling like that. I spent so long hating my body, so long letting my job define how I showed up, so long just feeling like I was waiting for my life to start, like I was just like spiraling, waiting for something to happen. So that's not changed. I still believe that, and I still want to do that. I still coach my clients. All through this process of taking this little strategy review, I have been coaching my clients. I've had some incredible conversations the last couple of weeks. I still coach clients who want to lose weight, to feel good in their clothes, to have healthy routines. I'm still all about flexible, realistic coaching. I'm still all about being practical. about being fad free. None of that is changing. None of how I coach or my clients or anything like that is going to change. None of that. But there were some things that didn't feel quite right in my business, and some areas of friction that felt really uncomfortable for me. When I first started coaching, if you're not in the coaching space, this might sound a bit strange, but in the coaching industry, what tends to happen is you start coaching and you sign up with a business mentor who is a coach that coaches coaches, basically. And these are people who you pay money to, and they help you to build your business. And there are lots of great ones out there. I've worked with some really good ones over the last couple of years. I've also worked with some absolute charlatans, if I'm honest. When I first started coaching, I worked with particular coaches. I was in particular communities of other coaches, and I followed rules. There were rules of how you had to grow your business. You had to follow certain blueprints. You had to post transformation pictures. You had to put out posts that said, I'm looking for 5 people. I was coached in a way that worked for some people, that was brilliant. But for me, that style of coaching, that style of marketing, it just wasn't me. It didn't land with me at all. I found myself in a place where I was talking about results. I was posting before and afters. I was thinking about my business in a way that didn't feel like me. Like, it didn't feel like how I wanted to coach. It didn't feel like what I wanted to talk about. And I started to feel like I was performing a version of coach rather than leading from who I actually am. And I'll be honest, when I first got into the coaching industry, even when I was still in my corporate job, I felt like I had to put on a front. I was never a fitnessy kid. I think that's fair to say. And when I first got into coaching, it was because I'd lost a lot of weight. I changed my body, and I wanted to look like a fitness person. I wanted to look like a coach. So I got the hair extensions. I wore the little Gymshark sports bra outfits. I did like photo shoots of me in my pants. I did all of that stuff because I thought that's what I needed to do to be a coach. And I enjoyed it. And I'm glad I did some of that stuff, because it's really shown me that I wasn't being myself. And I let a lot of that version of me kind of bleed into my coaching, and I became a bit like every other coach out there. And that's not me. I know I'm very different to a lot of the fitness industry. I don't even think of myself as in the fitness industry anymore, if I'm honest. That's what I'm gonna come on to. I found myself becoming like every other coach out there, and I just felt very conflicted and very uncomfortable. And I'll be honest, it caused a lot of quite dark moments, I think. This sounds very bleak, it may sound very dramatic, but it caused a lot of difficult moments for me because it left me feeling very inauthentic. I think when you show up as a version of yourself that isn't you, the mask that you put on and the person underneath starts to come into conflict. And I was finding more and more that I was losing who I really was. I was losing my love for things that I enjoy. I felt embarrassed on the internet to talk about things I was actually doing and things I actually enjoyed. I felt embarrassed to even talk with my normal voice. I felt like if I talked the way that I do talk, with my slightly public school voice, that people would judge me or have an opinion about me. So I ended up putting on this mask, and it was very uncomfortable, and it left me in a place where I wasn't really enjoying the idea of growing my business and making it into what I wanted it to be. Because over the last couple of months, pretty much all of this year, it's May 2025 now, and so pretty much from the start of this year, I've started to realise that I don't actually want to coach. I'm not going to get rid of my coaching. That's not going anywhere, but it's not really about coaching for me. What I want is to change the conversation. The world we live in has been built on this idea of extremes, of control, of restriction, of punishment, or of kind of well-being-y advice that doesn't really work. And it fails professional women. And it's only now that I've got some distance from the corporate world that I can see how much the health and fitness industry failed me in that environment, but also how much the corporate world failed me, how much the corporate world fails professional women. It fails to support them to take care of their health and well-being. It fails to encourage you to do the things you need to do to feel good about yourself. It leaves both the health and fitness industry and the corporate world leave so many professional women feeling like they are falling short, even though they are smart, successful, talented, building incredible careers. They still feel like they're not doing enough. Because something that I have realised over the last couple of months from my own internal reflection from the many conversations I've had with my clients is that being successful means literally nothing if you can't enjoy it. And you can't enjoy it if you're not taking care of yourself. And that's where this next phase comes in, if you like. That's where the fun stuff starts. It's about coaching that's about real health, not just aesthetics. Yes, I still coach fat loss because that's something that helps a lot of people, but I do that from a place of you pursuing a goal that matters to you allows you to enjoy the life that you work so hard for. But it's not just about fat loss. I've realised that I have many clients within the TFP who aren't pursuing fat loss and are still getting incredible results because the result is about you being able to enjoy the life that you work so hard for, no matter how successful your career is. If you're not looking after yourself, you can't enjoy that life. But I also want to be doing some other things with my platform, my limited platform that I have. I want to have an impact on the world. I want to be speaking in rooms where decisions are made. I want to help workplaces to support women better, to support employees better, because looking after your health and fitness is the foundation for you being successful in life. It's not a nice to have. It's not an add-on. It's not something you do after everything else. It's not another item on your to-do list. It's the thing that you do because it allows you to be better at your job. It allows you to be a better partner, parent, friend, daughter, sister, person in the world. Looking after your health and fitness, pursuing things that matter to you, running marathons or losing weight or whatever it is that you want to pursue, that stuff helps you be better at your job and it helps you be a better human and it helps you enjoy the life that you have worked hard to build. And that is why I'm doing it. So I want to be speaking in rooms where decisions are made to help workplaces to support people better. I want to be working with businesses to support their employees. I want to help them to help other people. I'm just missing where I got to in my notes. And the other thing that I want to be doing is content like this. I want to be creating more content that is about thought leadership in this space. Something that I have realised, and I'm being very honest here, I'm sharing a lot. Something I've realised is that I came from a background of writing, of communicating, of deep thinking, of problem solving. My background, as I said, in my corporate job was strategy. That's what I did. And when I came into coaching, I got to have some incredible conversations with clients and conversations that I loved, that level of depth, that level of communication, that ability to have a conversation with someone and completely change their day or the course of their behaviour. It's an incredible gift, coaching. I absolutely love it. But I felt that I was missing that opportunity to think deeply about problems. I'm a nerd. I'm a real dork. I did philosophy at university. And I felt like I was missing that opportunity to think deeply and to problem solve and to communicate ideas and share ideas more. And it was because of the way that I was using coaching and social media. And that's something I want to change. I want to share more thought-provoking, deeper content. I want to share stuff that gets you thinking, that gives you tools that can really help you. But I want to do that using my skill set and my brain more. So that's another thing that you're going to notice changing, is the content I'm going to be sharing is going to look quite different. Over the last couple of months as well, I've also made some really big changes to the More to Life program, which is our one-to-one coaching program. The program looks very, very different to anything else in the fitness industry. As I say, I don't even think about this as the fitness industry anymore. This isn't a PT. This isn't a transformation program. I'm not even in the fitness industry anymore. I'm in the health and wellbeing for professional women industry, which is its own little industry in its own right. The More to Life program is like nothing else out there. We've changed the program a lot to make it much deeper, much better suited to supporting professional women, much more kind of client focused. And I've completely changed how we run it in order to make it better for professional women and to really do exactly what I want to do, which is help women lead successful lives so they can enjoy the life they work so hard for and have health and fitness at the foundation of that. But all of this is just the beginning, right? I want to do more. I have to do more. I feel like I have an obligation. The background that I came from, the experiences that I had in the corporate world, that is not something I ever want anybody to go through. And I will talk about this in a future episode. I'm not just dropping breadcrumbs here. I will talk about this in a future episode. I have an obligation to impact people and to make changes because this needs to change. The corporate world needs to help professional women better, and I feel like I have a duty to share as much as possible to help professional women to take care of their health and well-being. So what does that look like in practice? Well, you're going to be seeing some quite different content. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me talking, a lot less of me hiding behind social media captions. I'm going to be sharing a lot more talking content. You're not going to be getting daily podcast episodes in little 5-minute bursts anymore, because I think these longer sit-down conversations are much more beneficial. I'd love to get some guests on these podcasts at some point to talk a bit more about, I mean, maybe not in my little ad hoc podcast studio here, but I'd love to get some guests on to talk about more in-depth topics, to cover things off that are relevant to professional women, to talk about things beyond just the kind of fitnessy side of it as well, to talk about things from a corporate standpoint, from a well-being in the workplace standpoint, from a bigger kind of commercial standpoint as well. I'd love to be able to talk about, have more of those conversations, because I feel like this is a space that I'm privileged to have, and I want to be able to share that. So that's definitely something you're going to be seeing. You're also going to be seeing changes in terms of content I'm sharing, more longer form content, more in-depth content. You're going to be seeing me speaking in rooms of businesses more. And if you have a wellbeing week at work or anything like that, and you want someone to come in and talk, I am here. Please reach out. You're going to be seeing me doing a lot more of that. You're going to be seeing a lot less of me prancing around in a sports bra. I will still do that. I still like to train, but it's going to be a lot less about aesthetics. You're not going to see much of me posing and flexing my muscles in the same way. If I look really good, maybe, but you're not going to be seeing that. You're going to be seeing a very different approach. You're also going to be seeing a lot more content that goes deeper. We're going to be talking more about burnout, not just from work, but from constantly trying to get it right. We're going to be talking about identity shifts, mindset. We're going to be going deeper. We're going to be talking about some deeper stuff. This isn't a relaunch. I'm not completely rebranding. The Thriving Female Project still exists as a business. I might have to rename this podcast, because I realise this is a lot longer than 5 minutes, so Thrive in 5 might not be accurate. But this is not a relaunch. This is a return. This is me going back to what I really care about and what I really want to speak about. It's me recentering around what I know needs to be changed in the world. I'm not here to be a guru or a brand or anything like that. I'm here to be useful. I'm here to help. I'm here to have an impact. I want you to listen to this podcast or read my content on whatever platform it is that you watch/listen to me on, and feel like you are listening to someone who gets it. I want you to feel like this space was made for you. That's what I'm here for. This was a very, very self-centered episode, very self-indulgent. They're not all going to be like this, but I wanted to share this. I thought it was really important. I will be uploading an episode next week where I'm going to talk a little bit more about, maybe a bit more self-centered as well, about my own experiences in the corporate world and kind of what happened and why that impacted me and what that means. And then we'll be getting into some topics and chatting some bits through. But I hope you found this insightful. And if you listened to the end, well done. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. And I will speak to you later.